you will set your reference. So this is my brand color. It's identified as the 500 shade. And then I will set the details. So of course there are less values to define. We have the normal state and the other state. And here again, we have the accessibility check that let me know what this color choice will result on surface 1, 2, 3, and 4. So for example, my brand color will not be AAA because none of them is over 7 to 1. It will be AA over surface 1, 2, and 3, but it won't be AA over surface 4. So you can either avoid using it over surface 4, or you can choose to go for a darker shade, maybe this one, and this one will be AAA over 1, 2, and 3, and AA over surface 4. So we can see that if we select 600 for our brand color, we get a 9.5 to 1 ratio against surface 1. And this is a sort of pink color. And back to what we discussed earlier about comparing HSL colors to the OxyProps colors defined in the CIELab color space. If I choose my accent color, for example, which is a kind of yellow, let's even pick the lime one, and I choose the exact same 600 shade for my light mode, we can see that we have the same contrast results. So that's interesting because by using those colors, your color contrasts are predictable. You know that in light mode, any color with a shade of 600 will achieve a 9.5 or 9.6, depends on the rounding of the calculation, color contrast against surface 1. And if I want to know where is the threshold, well, let's try descending. At 300, I still have 4.7. At 200, I have 3.9. So I know that with this choice of surface 1, if I want to achieve AA contrast ratios, I can safely use any color with a shade of 300 or over. All of them, whether it's a green, a yellow, or a blue, will pass the WCAG 2.1 contrast ratio check for a AA. Okay, so now I have defined my canvas color, my brand color. Imagine we have defined the other ones. For all color schemes, I can go back to bricks and decide to use my brand color. And here I'm using my brand color over a surface 3 because earlier we defined a card 3. So I know that I get a contrast ratio of 2.9, which is not great. Maybe you notice that this is not a very good contrast. So I can try to improve this, and I will define my brand color in dark mode to be maybe my 100. It's 4.1. Maybe if I want to achieve AA, I will define it to 85. Save. Go back to the editor. Also save and refresh. And now I know that my contrast is correct. If I switch to light mode, this is my brand color defined with the light version of the shade over my surface 3 light version. This one, let's look at the light mode, has a contrast ratio of 8, which is very good. And if I want, I can safely go to a lighter version. Maybe I want to come back to my reference color, which is the exact one I want. It has a ratio of 4.9, so it still passes the AA. Let's save and refresh my editor. And this is my new version. It's lighter than the previous one, but still with a good contrast ratio. And as I know that using a 500 shade in my light mode gives me a correct contrast ratio, well, if I want, I can decide that this heading will use my accent color 500, and I will get the same contrast ratio. So it's probably not a good idea to do it this way because this is OK for light mode. But if I switch to dark, I didn't use a logical color for this one. So it's still using the same version. If I want to switch to the logical version of my color, I will use my accent color. And then I get the dark version of my accent color and the light version with correct contrasts for both light and dark modes. And that's it for this overview of the color settings in OxyProps. In the next video, we will have a look at the typography settings.